What's up, everybody? This is Sports Prediction Central, and I'm coming at you guys with basically my first video under this name, and it's going to be the 2017 playoffs. And I'm going to predict basically every single round and hope I get it right. And honestly, this is a very interesting playoff year. I think there's a lot of teams that I didn't expect to be on here. There's a lot of teams that I did expect. I think this whole year has been a crazy roller coaster, but let's get right into this. So, going into the wild card on the AFC side, we're going to start off with the Texans and the Raiders. Now, obviously, as you all know, Derek Carr got injured with the broken leg injury, and it's very unfortunate. I think the Raiders have gone through a lot these past years, obviously not finishing their years with good records, and for the one year that they do a very good job, to end like this with Derek Carr injured, which is really the soul of the team, is very unfortunate. They could have ran away with a first round bye, but now they're stuck in the wild card as a fifth seed, and I think it's very unfortunate. But it is what it is. So getting right into it, I think the Texans aren't a very good team either. But honestly, by looking at the Raiders and Denver game, Matt McGloin and the other quarterback, I don't know his first name, but I know his last name ends with Cooks. They didn't look good. I think Cooks is a little bit better, but Matt McGloin literally overthrowing guys like crazy. And if that's the way it's going to be in the regular season, I can only imagine the pressure on him in the playoffs. Both the quarterbacks, I just don't think they can get it done. And it's not like the Raiders defense can really carry them either. Yeah, I do see the Texans running away with this one, which is very unfortunate because obviously the Raiders had such a great year, but for it to end that way, I can guarantee you if Derek Carr was in the mix, they probably would have had first round bye and the story would have been much different. But moving on. So we got the Steelers and the Dolphins. Now, as you all know, the Dolphins beat the Steelers early on in the year. But one thing you got to remember is that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't healthy at the time, and the Steelers have been playing much better since then. But then again, I think the Dolphins have been playing a little bit better as well. But I think the only way for the Dolphins to win this game is for Jay Ajayi to run all over the Steelers like they did in the last game, which I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. I think the Steelers are playing really good. Their defense is playing better. Ben Roethlisberger looking good. And also you got to consider that Ben Roethlisberger has more playoff experience, a lot more playoff experience than any of the Dolphins players. I don't even think any of their teammates in the Dolphins side have even been to the playoffs. So I'm going to have to go with the Steelers on this one. Now, moving on into the wild card rounds in the NFC. So we got the Giants and the Packers. Sorry. So you got the Giants and the Packers. Honestly, I think this will be the best game in the whole playoffs. But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be a shootout either. I think the Giants, you have the Giants who have a great defense, and you got the Packers who have a pretty good offense as well. And you got two Super Bowl quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning. And almost every single time Eli Manning goes to the playoffs, he goes to the Super Bowl. But the thing is, all his teammates have not been to the playoffs. And I'm not sure if Eli Manning is the same Eli Manning to carry all his teammates to the Super Bowl. But of course, you do have that great defense. This one's a very hard one, and I think it could go either way. But it's just so difficult. I think I don't know, man. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to pull this one out. He's been pulling it out for the past few years. Aaron Rodgers is no stranger to the playoffs, and obviously, as you all know, Eli Manning hasn't been to the playoffs in a while. I just think that Aaron Rodgers has the edge here. They beat him on earlier in the year as well. But I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So I'm going to go with Green Bay. So now on the Seattle and Lions side, you got two teams that haven't been playing well. You obviously know that the Seahawks lost to the Cardinals. They had a close game against the 49ers, which, I mean, they were playing some of their secondaries But even then, they just haven't been playing well at all, and they got blown out by the Packers. It's just so hard. But the thing is, with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and Pete Carroll in the mix, they always just find a way to win in the playoffs. And with Matthew Stafford and the Lions, who obviously is a very good quarterback, I just don't believe in his teammates to pull it off. That's the thing. I just don't. I think Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback and has been carrying this Lions team throughout the season. But for whatever reason, I just think the Seahawks are going to pull this one out. I think they're barely going to survive the Lions. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. All right, now moving on to the divisional rounds. So you got the Patriots and the Texans. Honestly, I don't even think I have to spend a whole lot of time on this one. I think the Patriots are going to beat the Texans in the blowout. And honestly, I just don't see the Texans doing anything against the Patriots. You saw what happened to them against the Kansas City Chiefs. But now you got a 14-2 team against a 9-7 team. And I just don't think the Texans have playmakers to really turn things around. So I'm going to have to go with the Patriots on this one. So next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Steelers. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. Now, as you all know, that the Steelers blew out the Kansas City Chiefs earlier in the year. But the thing is that the Chiefs are a different team. They have been on a roll. They've been on fire. They beat the Broncos twice. They beat the Raiders twice. And they've just been beating teams. They beat Atlanta, who has a high-powered offense. And really, the Steelers their offense is what really makes the Steelers the Steelers. And I do think that Atlanta has a better offense than the Steelers do. And I'm just going to have to go. Honestly, I'm safe to say that the Chiefs will move on to the AFC Championship versus the Patriots. So now moving on into the NFC divisional rounds. You got the Cowboys and Aaron Rodgers. This is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very good game, and it's a very tough game to decide on. So you got Cowboys who've obviously basically have 2 bye weeks, or have had 2 bye weeks already, because they didn't really even play against the Eagles. And you got Ezekiel Elliott that's going to have fresh legs. I think Morris Claiborne's going to come back. The defense is going to be healthier. And I'm not sure, man. I think, God. I think it's so hard. It's so hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers. So it's basically youth against veterans. But to be honest with you guys, I think the Cowboys are the better overall team. Obviously they don't have the best defense in the world, but they have been playing a lot better. They haven't been allowing a whole lot of points. They do start off pretty slow, but their defense has been getting better, especially with David Irving now in the mix. I believe Morris Claiborne will be coming back, and you guys, Ezekiel Elliott who will have fresh legs. You got Dak Prescott, and they beat the Packers once, and I do think they're gonna beat them again in a very close game. So I'm gonna have to go with Dallas on this one. Next up, you got the Falcons and the Seahawks. Now, the thing is, the Seahawks have always been known for having that strong, tough, gritty defense. But the thing is, they're all banged up. You got Errol Thomas that is out. And honestly, ever since Errol Thomas has been out, the Seahawks have really not been the same since. They've been having some close games. They obviously lost some big games against the Cardinals. And they lost the Packers, who they just got blown out, ran all over by a pretty decent offense in Green Bay. Obviously run by Aaron Rodgers. But the thing is, Atlanta has an amazing offense. They have literally been putting up 35 to 40 something points on average every single game. And the thing is, I just think that the Seahawks will try, but the thing is, I think Atlanta's offense is going to be a little bit too overwhelming for the Seahawks. So I'm gonna have to go with Atlanta on this one. And even though Russell Wilson has more playoff experience than any of the Atlanta Falcons players, I just think Atlanta's offense is just going to be too much for Seattle's banged up defense. So now going back to the AFC Championship, this is going to be a good one, and I think it's going to be a lot more closer game than the last year's game, which was pretty much dominated by the Patriots. Even though the Kansas City Chiefs scored a last-minute touchdown that made the game look a lot closer than it actually was in the final score. But the thing is, the Kansas City Chiefs have been on fire this year, and you have the Patriots who have been on fire this year. And you know what? It's gonna be very tough. You got Travis Kelce, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Alex Smith. They're all playmakers, and you got a lot of playmakers on the Patriots side, obviously with Tom Brady. So I think it's going to be a very, very tough game for both teams, because you got the Kansas City Chiefs that has a pretty decent defense that could stop Tom Brady. But the thing is, Tom Brady has seen very good defenses before, and I think his offensive line is better than last year's. Obviously, you saw what happened in the Denver game last year. Tom Brady getting sacked over and over and over, but I just don't see that being the case this year. But I do think Kansas City Chiefs are going to make it a very close game. But I'm going to have to go with Tom Brady once again, winning the rematch. It's going to be a tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City did pull off the upset, but that's just how I see it. So you got Dallas and the Falcons. And honestly, this game is also a very close game. And honestly, this whole playoff, all the playoff games are going to be very close. I think they're all going to be very good games. So you have Dallas that has a very good offense, and then you got Atlanta Falcons who have a great offense. I think Atlanta has the better offense than Dallas. But the thing is that Atlanta's defense is very suspect. You've seen a lot of games where they've been winning their games by just outscoring the other team. You saw it last week you saw it in the Week 17 against the Saints, where they just basically outlasted the Saints and outscored them. And you just see it time and time again. And I think it takes a pretty good defense to beat the Falcons. And Dallas isn't known for having a great defense, but I think they're very underrated. Obviously, all their defensive players should be much healthier with the bye week coming up. And the thing is that I just think that Dallas's defense is better than Atlanta's defense. But that's not my point here. I think the biggest thing about this game and what Dallas has been good at the whole entire year is time of possession, meaning that Atlanta's offense won't be on the field as long as they're used to being, meaning that Atlanta's defense will have to hold the Cowboys for a very long time. I just see the Dallas Cowboys wearing out the Atlanta Falcons down the stretch, and I think that moves the Dallas Cowboys to Super Bowl 51. And that's a very tough thing to say. I think Matt Ryan obviously has the most playoff experience, but I just believe that time of possession. Now here's the thing: if they don't win the time of possession, I do see Dallas losing the game, but I believe that they will be able to control it. I just don't think Atlanta's defense is that great. So here you go. You got the Patriots and you got the Cowboys. Now this is basically what everyone has been predicting, so I think it's very I think it's just very strange that you're gonna see something that everyone has been predicting, which is the Cowboys and Patriots. Everyone has been saying it, but I just think that it will happen, especially the way that the playoff bracket has played out, the way it's laid out. I just think that it will end up that way. So you got Dak Prescott and you got Tom Brady, which I think is very ironic because a lot of people compare Dak Prescott to Tom Brady in terms of records. Obviously, you know that Dak Prescott broke some of Tom Brady's records early on this year. And you got two quarterbacks who don't turn the ball over too much. But the thing is, you got one quarterback that obviously probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Tom Brady. And it's basically youth versus veterans. But the thing is, I think time's up for Dallas in this one. Their youth has obviously been overpowering throughout the whole entire season. I think they will be overpowering in the playoffs. But when it comes to this one, I just think Brady has a trick up his sleeve to pull this one out for his team. And I do think it might be a close game, but it's one of those that can go either way. But I'm just gonna have to roll with Brady on this one. It's hard to go against the Patriots. So there you go for your Super Bowl champions in Super Bowl 51. I have Tom Brady and the Patriots pulling it out. And honestly, they've been playing so good this year. It's hard to pick against them. But then again, you got so many games that can go either way. You got the Raiders game. The Raiders could pull that one out. You got Kansas City and Steelers. The Steelers could pull that one out, I believe. The Lions could pull out the Seahawks. I believe the Giants could definitely beat the Packers. That is no question. And the Giants could possibly beat the Cowboys, which would be hard for a third time. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Another scenario that I could see happening is the Chiefs and the Falcons in the Super Bowl. But I'm going to have to go with the Patriots and the Cowboys. With the Patriots pulling out this one. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button. This is a pretty new channel. I'm probably going to do a lot more prediction videos from now on. I hope you guys like this video. Tell me what your predictions are. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.